This is Brett Gleason. I have Mike Albo sitting by, who's author of the fantastic book, audiobook experience, Hologram Boyfriends, Sex, Love, and Overconnection. I'm really grateful to have the opportunity to speak with him today because I just had the excellent experience of listening to it. And to be honest, it's about much more than sex and love in the digital age, even though that's kind of what it's promoted as. It's also about surviving in New York City as an artist while maintaining your integrity in the face of shifting trends, as well as the deepening spiritual connection that seems to help Mike ground himself along the way. Personally, I will state that I was originally disappointed to see that this book wasn't available to read with my eyes because I'm generally not an audiobook person. But when I started listening, it was honestly unlike any other audiobook that I've experienced before. It mixes traditional studio recordings with creative sound effects and live performances of Mike reading at a bar to a really excited hometown crowd in New York. So it never gets stale. It's always exciting. And honestly, it feels like it finally makes the best use of all of Mike's talents as a writer, a performer, and a comedian. Never really heard anything like this. I don't know if anyone else has tried, but I imagine that many will. On another personal note, as a fellow gay male artist from New York who spent so much time looking for love on the apps while trying to survive financially and seek satisfaction and success along the way, the book really fucking resonated. I just have so much respect for Mike's work, which is phenomenal, but also his goddamn fortitude, his ability to continue to evolve artistically, emotionally, and like I said, spiritually. So I hope that we can dig into some of this stuff. And if anyone is listening to this or watching it, you really need to check this out. It's Hologram Boyfriends. It's on Spotify, Apple, Audible, and I think anywhere else you could possibly dig in. Though I'm sure that there's a preferred platform and maybe Mike can recommend that. But hey, Mike, what's up?
Hi, I'm so happy to be here. It's so nice to see you virtually.
It's so nice to see you too. I just gave my rundown of like my experience of your project. I would love to hear how you would describe it.
Well, you did a great job. It is when I do a elevator pitch, if someone, a stranger asks, I say it's about love and sex before and after the smartphone. Sort of, I think someone of my age can remember the time before and the time after and how the smartphone just changed how we interact, obviously, but also then there's sort of like a deeper investigation for me about desire and desire as an energy. And while I was working on it, I started reading a lot about desire as energy. And it's one of those. This is a book, but in a way, I've also said it's kind of like a concept album. In that I started writing it in March of 2024 and finished it in December of 2024. And those months, it really is affected by those months emotionally and what I went through emotionally. Sort of like, Joni Mitchell's Blue was a moment in time for her. This was like a clear 6-month time of what I was going through. And it really shot out. I mean, there's some parts of it that I've written before, but I polished it and changed them. But a lot of it sort of shot out of me, especially from August until December. That was the high period of typing.
Cool. Thank you for that. Obviously, I would love to know what happened in that time. Share if you're curious, but I'd also like, more importantly, I'd like to know like what changed in you in that time to make you want to write. Was
Yeah,
there a shift in how you viewed dating or love or energy?
right. Well, it's one of those confluence of things because I got the deal for it. I'd been talking to Robert Allen at Macmillan Audio. He came up to me after a show. I was doing a comedy show with my friends David and Nora Unitard, and he came up after me to me about 2 years ago, now 3, and was like, "Hey, I'd love to do some kind of audio original with you." And it's when someone out of the blue says like, "You should do an album or you should write a book," you're like, "Me?" And then you suddenly start thinking. So then over a year and a half, I think I was just sending, I was like, "Here's everything I've written on stage, all 180 pages of material for 30 years of performing." And he was like, "This isn't really quite it." And then there was something in there where I wrote about dating this guy that's in the book, dating this man who was from China who was kind of stuck in New York during the pandemic. And then after we dated, he was a gorgeous Chinese man. And after we dated, I got all these robot apps, people uh, or robots saying, that looked like these gorgeous Asian men. And I was like, did I date a hologram? That was like sort of the seed. And he really liked that kind of concept. And then I got the deal, started in March. I finally got my first third of the advance, which wasn't very much, and started working on it. And then, you know, I think you probably know this as a person who writes albums. Like the minute your antenna goes up about a project, everything starts flowing into those antenna. So there I was writing about dating and the internet, and then all these sort of strange occurrences started happening to me that were kind of tailored and about the book itself. Yeah, so it was sort of like just a time to stay open about a concept. And then things started kind of coming to me. Like, for example, I was at the gym and I was doing a lot of yoga at the gym, and I saw someone who looked like an ex-boyfriend of mine. I was like, oh, that looks like Clancy is his name in the book. And then that night I found out a terrible thing about him. So just all these things started happening like that. It was a very interesting time. I don't know if I want to live like that forever,
Yeah.
but was a very fruitful time and a very painful time. It was, yeah. And then it just sort of started flowing out.
So like once you had the opportunity, you sort of just kept getting all of these pings, like this comes in, this comes in, this comes in. It's almost like your heart was kind of torn open to the process.
Yes. And I was, in fact, told by my yoga teacher that I needed to open my heart area more. And so I was really focused on the heart area. And also in the book, I talk about taking this emerald elixir that's supposed to be heart opening chakra elixir. And I was reading all these books on chakras and on energy lines and how to feel your energy. So I was doing a lot of new age, for lack of a better word, energy work as well. So there's a lot going on at that time.
There's a lot in the book. There's a lot. Honestly, it feels more like a memoir or like a manifesto. It's a really rich experience. And I love the name Clancy. All of the names you pick are so good. I imagine that they have great names as well. Yeah, like one of the things that I really love and identify with is that like it seems like you get into these really long conversations through text with guys spanning months to years. And some of them are some of them are somewhat superficial, but then some of them become real relationships in your life, even if they don't pan out to be exactly what you wanted them to be. And personally, I identify with that because like I'm always on the apps looking for love, whatever app it is, even if it's Grindr.
Yeah.
It's just a tool. It's all about your intention.
Yeah.
And I ask this because personally, I feel like the level of connection, the level of ability to converse has gone down drastically in the last decade since it started.
Yeah.
And I'm curious, one, if you agree with me. Two, if you have any tips or tricks or modes that you use to kind of beat through that, because I think ultimately we're all just trying to connect, but we just have so many walls up and we don't know how to connect anymore because
Yes, because of that. It's all because of that. I do, it's funny. If I had had this ability to talk to people when I was a teenager, I just love talking to people. I love it. And if I had the ability to sit in my house and talk to people, I would have been a very unhealthy life. And admittedly, I just like everyone else, I'm very cautious about, or it's hard for me to take that final step to meet someone in person, especially in New York, because there's just so much to do, and so you have such little time. And I've tried and made the mistake of, let me give you an example. There's this guy that I had been talking to forever, and I think he finally moved from San Francisco to New York, and he's an artist. And last winter, he was like, oh, I'd love for you to come and see my stuff, my work. And I was like, this is great. Sure. How about an up and update, And then I was like, oh, I'll get to his area early and just sit at a bar because I like working at bars. And I was doing that. And then he texted and was like, I'm so sorry. I found out, I realized that I have a gallery meeting or something. And he kind of blew me off. And I was just like, oh man, that sucks. And then just recently, unbeknownst, I don't think he's even knows about this book. He got back in touch with me and he was like, I'm so sorry that happened. I'd love to see you again. I'd love to see you. And he wants me to come see his work again. And I'm like, man, am I really going to go all the way to see it for Lucy in the football experience number, Charlie Brown kicking the football? There's just so many people and it's such a maze. And I think we're all kind of suffering from this simple fact that we are in touch with more people. We have more connections, and I think you're right about there being lack of communication. I feel like now the "what are you into" thing is like somehow that's not rude, and people are keep asking that. And my response right now is nice guys with nice penises. And then that kind of makes people kind of joke, like break up and laugh, and then they kind of get normal again. Like, what do you want me to say? You want me to like give you a list of what the fuck are you asking me? You
They
know?
do. Yeah, that's what they
And
want.
and I almost don't want to say nice guys with nice penises because I think I love trans guys. Do you know what I mean? So I don't want to like make it a thing, but I'm trying to destabilize people from their habits of what are they asking me really? What do you really want? You know? So I do try to destabilize people with humor.
No, I love that. And I think people either they don't exactly know what they want or they kind of go in like looking for this, but really they, they want this. Like
Yeah.
they want a deep, meaningful connection, and I think the dream is like having this kind of low stakes hookup turn into this like blossoming romance, but
Yeah.
you have to be there to do it. I try, and this guys fucking hate this. I try to get people to talk on the phone. Or
Nice.
like if it's an app that you can send voice memos on, I send a voice memo and they're just like, oh,
Yeah. That's a good way to get rid of people. I mean, if they can't handle that, then there's a problem.
for real.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Hi, jumping around. So
Yeah.
we were talking about spirituality, and you also talk about how your career has kind of had a lot of starts and stops and different phases to it. I'm curious if there's a bit of a connection between the two. Like, do you think that if like right when you released your first book, Hornito, you felt like you kind of had a moment, and I do you imagine that if that had really like continued to just be a continuing rise to nonstop success, do you think that you would have had the same spiritual development?
No, absolutely not. I would have been such an asshole. I've said before on stage, like I did a solo show recently, and I was like, I'm sort of glad I didn't become successful because I'd be such a dick. I wouldn't even be here. I'd be like, one of those annoying red carpet gays that just gross me out, and I would be so empty. And the way that my career and my disappointments in love and career have taken me, I have to say in a cliche way, I'm very grateful for because I've learned how to cope with not having any money, cope with jealousy, cope with envy, and get through those feelings, kind of get my mind around them, and really have faith in what I'm doing. If I had also, I wouldn't have written this. I would have been, I don't know what would have happened. And this is, to me, is what I've always wanted to say. It's the way I wanted to say it. And so it always, even at the hardest times, to be able to trust your path and trust your destiny as an artist is so hard. And I'm here to help other people now realize their creative life. And I want to support that, nothing makes me happier than helping other people feel they're expressing themselves correctly and well. So that's what I'm here for now.
Love that. It's funny you say like, oh, I know this sounds cliche, but like I'm so grateful for not getting successful. Like that's not a cliche at all. That might be a cliche in like wellness or
Yeah.
spiritual circles, but like to the mainstream people, that is
Right,
not cliche by
right,
any means.
right, right, right.
No, like I kind of felt similarly. Like I remember when I released my first project, I had these really high expectations of just like, well, it's great, I'm great, the world's going to recognize that, and then it's like I got beaten down very, very quickly. I've done a lot of kind of searching as to why this is, and at first I was kind of like, well, I did this wrong, and I was thinking tactically, and ultimately I think that there was no way I could have handled any kind of success, and I don't think and I think I was coming from a place of ego where like I just wanted this kind of recognition, and that just really isn't what was meant for me. And I'm
Yeah,
still kind of figuring out what's meant for me. And being able to do that makes you a better artist, makes you a better human, makes you a better friend, makes you a better lover, gives you a richer life experience. So I'm
that's a good way
grateful
to
for
put
it
it.
too, but
Yeah.
it's fucking hard.
It is hard because while that is all true, you still want an audience. I mean, as an artist, you want to connect. That's the whole point.
Yeah,
So it isn't like not everyone can be Emily Dickinson, but I even think,
of
the myth
course.
of her is that she was, sequestered in her room, but she really was quite out there as well. trying to get her stuff published. It's just
Yeah.
part of being an artist. It's like wanting to connect and have an audience. So there should be no shame uh, for any artist to feel depressed that they're not popular. Do you know what I mean? It
Yeah.
really is it's a real tough thing to feel and get through. You just got to keep going. You just have
Yeah.
to keep going.
Yeah, and I think we're at a time where, I mean, it might seem like people who are kind of playing to the algorithm or playing to the trends, like they're getting success, but they're really just kind of getting this quick sugar high of this
Yeah,
like quick rise in the charts that goes away very quickly. They're not gaining actual fans. They're not making real connections. They're not having actual lasting careers. And I imagine that they're not actually building the lives for themselves that they want. They're not creating the feeling inside that they want from making art. So,
absolutely.
in the end, I kind of had to be like, well, okay, I was doing it because I wanted something outside myself, but now I'm trying to do it because just this is how it makes me feel, and that's what I want.
Mm,
So,
that's great.
all right. Similarly, you talk about there's one passage of yours in there that I freaking loved, and I thought it was interesting. Like you talk about the word regret, and I think it's in a conversation with the spiritual advisor how
Mm.
he says something specifically how regret is a positive sentiment. And correct me if I'm saying this. Please correct me if I'm saying this wrong, because there's like a forward motion implying that like you've learned something as opposed to having shame about something you've done, meaning that like you're kind of stuck in the past about it.
Yes.
Is that
Shame
okay?
is like a body. It's a closed loop. You feel shame and you can't get out of the shame because you're kind of roiling in it. But as you say, regret shows that you have regret for something in the past and you're moving forward.
I love that because like I feel like there's so many people who are just like, oh, I have no regrets, no regrets. And it's like,
Right.
well, ultimately we have to accept the path that our lives take us on and be grateful for where we've landed for sure. But, if you had the knowledge that you have now, you probably would have done it differently.
Yeah.
Like, who
Yeah.
wouldn't? So, what I was going to say is like, and I imagine this is the case, like, have you found regret, whether in your career or in your personal life, to be a positive motivator? And if you care to divulge me, like, is there any specific thing that you would have done differently that you want to share?
Oh, there's so many things I would have done differently.
Same.
And one thing I totally regret is, well, it's funny because one thing I totally regret is going to grad school for poetry, which is why I have a criminal amount of student loan debt that I can't get out of because of our horrible system, and which I would have paid off by now, but the interest has increased so much that it's impossible for me to ever pay it off. But while I was at grad school for poetry, that's when I realized that I didn't want to be part of the poet world because it's so inclusive. I mean, enclosed, and everyone's gunning for that New Yorker, that tiny little spot in the New Yorker. And I was like, I don't want my stuff to be that. I want to do something else. And I started getting more comfortable being on stage and writing prose. So perhaps if I didn't go to grad school and regret it, I wouldn't be where I am. So it's a little hard to kind of be clean about it.
Yeah.
So yes, I do. What I hopefully more and more now realize is that I can name something as regret, and every day I can make. I don't know if you do this to yourself, but I think about all the embarrassing things I did, or the things that I wish I had not done or said, or oh God, I wish I had not said that, described something. Like the other day, I had an interview with this incredible woman, Bevy Smith, who is like a big TV personality, a radio personality on Sirius,
Oh
and
yeah.
she formerly went as Beverly Smith, and then on the microphone I was like Bevy, I mean Bev, and I was like I just kind of forgot who she was, and all day today I was just like, oh fuck, Mike, why did you do that? So it's so easy for me to just flow back into these little regret moments. It's just like it's part of my brain, and
Yeah.
the more that I can be like, Mike, why are you beating yourself up so much in these minor ways, the better.
Yeah. Yeah. So if you can just take that moment of like retrospective and not get stuck in it.
Yeah. Or
Yeah.
just notice you're doing it as soon as possible. That's the key. Is like, I'm regretting right now. This is not a good thing to do.
Yeah. Like you're looping on it. This is
Yes,
not
yes.
productive.
Right.
Exactly. Like learn the lesson, write it down,
Yeah.
rip it up, move on with your day.
Yes, yes,
Ugh.
exactly.
Yeah, that's hard. But no, I thought that was really, really beautiful because I've
Oh, thank you.
always just kind of tried to be like, no, it's done. What's done is done. It's like, no, man. Yeah, like I've kind of taken a break from doing music myself. I've been really burnt out and I'm trying to write memoir right now. Just
Mm.
I was actually like a writing major in college, but I and music, it was double so I kind of got more into music, and It's really interesting because, like, writing about yourself, you have to be so freaking honest,
Yeah.
and you can't lie to yourself about anything. And so I'm just coming up against all of these like little lies that I've told myself to get
Mm.
by,
Uh-huh.
that I can't let live, or I'll never get to like the truth of what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
So I do appreciate you sharing that about grad school, because part of me has just been like, maybe I should go to grad school for creative writing if I'm really serious about this, you know?
Yeah.
So,
Don't take out loans. Do it. I mean, but don't take out loans. Find a
yeah,
scholarship. You'd probably be a good candidate for a scholarship somewhere
because I'm old.
because you're a seasoned artist. Put it that way.
Okay, I love that. Thank you. Cool. Okay. On a lighter note, so we're both New Yorkers. How long have you lived there, if you don't mind my asking?
Since 1993,
Fuck yeah, man. Okay, so and you're from Virginia. Do you
Virginia.
consider yourself more? You're a New Yorker. You
Yeah,
consider yourself more New
I'm a New
Yorker? Yeah.
Yorker.
You lived there way longer than in
I know not to
Virginia.
get on a subway that's empty because it probably smells like shit. I know how to walk on the streets without annoying people. I get annoyed by other people walking on the streets like idiots. Like I'm a New Yorker. Yeah.
Yo, speaking of that, okay, I literally went onto a subway once and it was full. It was a full A train and there was no one standing in the center. And I was just like, oh, there's plenty of room. And I go to stand in and there's literally a giant turd right there. And and I almost step in it and everyone just laughs at me. And I'm like, okay. So then I push to the side. But it's crazy because everyone, like, the train is still full.
Oh my God.
And so that, but then it's fun because I think it was the A train to the beach. So it's the Rockaways. It's going to take forever. And so like, but then we all have this like great New York moment because we're all standing on the side hiding. And then every time someone comes onto the train and almost steps in it and like, ah, fuck, motherfucker, we all just laugh. And it's like, and then they become part of the joke too.
That's hilarious.
It was great. It was a great moment. But yeah, I mean, I'm a New Yorker. I've thrown up on the train, whatever. Okay. So yeah. And as you know, I'm here in LA. I left New York after 20 years in the city. And, being an artist in the city, somehow surviving financially in the city that is just absolutely rigged against normal humans surviving there,
Yeah.
yet lives on its reputation of being
Yep.
a cool place for artists and having great art. Strange dichotomy, fascinating. So I'm curious, and I know we touched upon this a little bit before, but like I've a three-parter right here. What has kept you there? What would make you leave?
Yeah.
Where would you go?
I'm stuck here. I'm like Tama Janowit's book, Slaves of New York. I can't afford to leave, number one. The magic of New York still is magical to me. Still love it here in terms of the energy, the ideas, the creativity, the access to other people's work, seeing amazing things all the time. It is so physically debilitating and challenging. I spent the summer away from New York, traveling up and down New England, and came back, and immediately my carpal tunnel in my hand flared up. My plantar fasciitis flared. I just inflamed. I just like became this more inflamed person. It's physically demanding here, and
Yeah.
it's not good for my body. Why am I still here? But then, even in terms of this book, the opportunities I've gotten for its publicity and for its are purely all my contacts. Everyone I know from New York are the ones who are like you are championing this book. And if I had not lived here, I don't know. Well, I wouldn't have written. It would have been the same book. But the people who are championing it are people that have contacted with. I have contacts with. So it's sort of like a city. It's a city that is every now and then I'm like, New York, you got to do something for me or I'm leaving, and then something like this happens. And then, wait, what was the second question?
I mean, you kind of great answer.
Oh,
I was going to say, like, what would make you leave? And if you did, like, where would you go? Other than Provincetown, you can't say Provincetown
okay. Yeah,
because that's just as impossible.
I know. Right. It's just like, it's funny because I would say what would make me leave is money. If I had the finances to be able to afford to leave, I would do that. I don't want to I have to stop myself from sounding too dark about this, but really this book is a weather vane for me. However it's received is going to decide what the next curtain up is for myself. If it doesn't lead to opportunity, I've got to change things up. I'm going to have to move. I don't know what I do. I don't know. I think I said what I wanted to say about New York.
Yeah.
I don't know what to do next, but this is sort of like the deciding doorway. And if I did go, I would, I mean, part of me wants to like go to Medellin or something, like wants to just really change it up.
Where's that?
Colombia,
Thank
or,
you.
some place that's completely different, and or maybe like a tropical place where I can be less inflamed and get a job as a bartender or something. I don't
Mhm.
know. This is it. This is
Okay.
my line in the sand. And so what happens next is I hopefully will happen in a way that I understand. I
Yeah.
think it's up to this book to kind of show me the way.
Got it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've wanted to leave. I wanted to get out of the city. I've wanted to get out of cities, but it's like, as a gay artist, I don't know where I would go. Like, I have this romantic idea of like living in a house in the woods with dogs and like
Oh, doesn't that
maybe
sound
a
nice?
part-time boyfriend who visits on weekends.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, you know what? As an artist, I could do that. And part of me is like, okay, well, live in the city long enough to like get my career established so then I could live anywhere I want.
Yeah.
And, as like a musician or a writer, it's like you could do that anywhere, especially with the internet. Like, I'm not really playing shows anymore. I'm kind of done with that. So like, but yeah, it's
I'll tell you one
it's a
thing is
lot.
I do not want to live in upstate New York.
Tell me more.
I do not find that. I'm sorry for your listeners or watchers. I apologize, but I don't find it a sexy area. It's not sexy.
Okay. I think it's beautiful. And I remember, so
Beautiful.
like, I'd wanted to leave New York. And I remember my boyfriend at the time, he was like, okay, well, like, I'm down with that. But like, he had to stay in New York for work, but he had to be in New York State. And at the time, I was like, well, what about like Philly or like just outside Philly? We can get like a cheap house outside of the city. I could still, I could find work in this. I'd be 2 hours from New York, blah, blah, blah. But I was like, upstate New York, it's still so hard to get into New York City. And it
Yes.
feels like there's this weird dichotomy of like artists, but then all the locals who hate them. It's like all these like red pilled people and like really low income people who just really resent, which is no, I mean, low income people, haha. But like all these locals who just really resent all these New Yorkers who come up and live there and think they're just ruining the culture and the economy. So it seems romantic sometimes. Like, I work with this band who like they all live on a farm in upstate New York, and
Yeah.
it's they all just live there and they record in a barn, and it just seems great. But like they're all straight.
Artistically, it would be a shift. It would be a shift. I
Yeah.
wouldn't mind it. It would maybe would, I spent a month up in Saratoga Springs at an artist residency, and enjoyed the forest, the creative fruit that comes from being in nature. It was beautiful. It was a beautiful time. But then but you got to come back here and make and shake it. Like until I find my inner Kate Bush and I can just like live in a castle or whatever. I always also fantasize about Sade. I think she lives at castle in Spain, and that just seems like so wonderful.
Is it Sade or Sade? I got into this with the other day with someone.
I think it's okay. I think I said it. It's Sade. When they say the pronunciation, it's pronounced Sade, but that's for British people because
Oh,
British people are like Sade, like
well,
so.
I
So it's
encourage saying it the British way. Absolutely.
yeah,
Cool. That's interesting. Yeah, I mean, that's why I came to LA, because I was like, especially after COVID, I got into like running during COVID, at least like going by the river. And I just felt like I needed more nature.
yeah.
I just wanted access to nature. So
And
I was like, oh,
LA's
LA.
great for that. LA has access to nature. That's what I love about LA. It's so the natural world is so porous within it
Yeah.
somehow.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a weird city.
It is a weird city.
You know what? Like everyone said when I got here, they're like, it's going to take you 3 to 5 years to make it home. And I'm just at 4 years in, I'm like, okay, yeah. But all of my friends are New Yorkers. They're all like people I knew from New York who moved here, or
Yeah.
so it's
Yeah.
interesting. All right, cool. So there's this passage that you talk about. There's this passage towards the end when you use the phrase, I think I'm getting this right either way. You talk about being double fucked in your career, which I love. And
Yeah.
it's like, it's so not politically correct to say it, but I feel like a lot of like men of our generation kind of feel similarly, where it's
Yeah.
like, when you first started out, you were maybe like too gay and you kind of had to hide that. And now
Now I'm
you're
over it. Now I'm not a trend. I'm a white gay guy. I'm lowest of the low.
yeah, like you're not queer enough.
Right.
You're not anything trendy or interesting. Like
Right.
there's this kind of backlash about white cis gay men and how they're oppressive power forces. And I love it. You're like, where's my power? Is it
Yeah.
like under my bed? Like, which, isn't to take for you go into, and
Yeah.
it's very well put. And obviously like
Thank
not
you.
to take for granted the privileges that come with being white, but also
Absolutely.
just to say like, just to kind of show like how like, just to show your perspective. And Mike, what I was kind of wondering is like, were you ever tempted to try to play it straight or to play into the stereotypes that might have made your gayness more marketable when like being gay was really marketable for a hot minute with like the
Yeah.
fashion gays and
Yeah.
the
Yep.
queer
Yep.
queer eye for the straight guy? Like, did you
Yeah.
ever try?
Well, first of all, I never tried to be straight. I've never been straight. I've never even know how to do it. I've been gay since I was 5. There's no way that I could even try.
You could pass if you wanted to, I'm sure.
Maybe I could, but I don't, it's just not in my body to even live that lie. And I've seen how early in my comedy career, I've I have numerous examples, which I didn't put in the book because I didn't want it to be too weighted with anger. But there's so many examples of my gayness working against me, especially in the comedy world. I mean, just clear examples of like, no, we can't use you because you're gay. And in terms of trying to be like a telegenic gay, sure, I tried. I wish I could do it. I don't think I have the ability to because look at me. I'm just like I'm too fidgety. I'm not clean enough. I don't present like I don't know if I could hold up a product and people would be like, "Wow, I'm going to buy that." I have such a checkered relationship with consumer culture. My entire life has been about looking at how it controls us and guides our feelings. And that ever since I was a child, always been obsessed with advertising and consumerism. So my relationship with consumerism is too fraught for me to be a consumer shill. At the same time, I got to figure out, I mean, it's so dumb. I should have realized that when I started this artistic career of wanting to question and poke fun at our consumer culture, that consumer culture wouldn't necessarily pay me back. So I don't know. I'm just the way I am. And I've had so many examples of, and I think this is something I would say to other people is your body keeps the score in terms of this. Your core self is going to guide you however you are artistically. If you can just get real centered about what you're saying and who you are, like it or not, you're going to make the mistakes that lead you to where you should be, over and over. Especially when I was writing for the New York Times and I got kind of canned by them for unjust reasons. That was my body doing it. I didn't do anything. Just things happened to me because of my weather vane.
Yeah. The universe was rock bottoming you because it wasn't aligned for you and you had to find your
Exactly.
soul's purpose. I love that. Yeah, but it's so different. Like in the 90s, like consumer culture, like artists were against all that shit. And now selling out is not a thing.
Right.
Like it's also the only way you can make money because it's like actual people buying your product doesn't really exist. People stream shit or
Yeah,
I don't know how it works with audiobooks, but bless your heart.
I know. We'll see. I mean, it's it's interesting to see. I haven't really looked at the numbers. I'm kind of afraid to, but hopefully this will lead to something.
Yeah. Well, it was the first audiobook I ever purchased on Apple Pods, even though I
Nice.
listened to it on Spotify. Just
Oh yeah.
like, okay, it's 6 hours. I'm consuming 6 hours of your hard work. Like I can't just fucking stream that. I also just canceled my Spotify premium, so I lost all my audiobooks, which is fine. It's fine.
Right.
Cool. Okay. Now I just have two like little silly questions. All right, fun. So in the book, you talk about being a double Gemini.
Yeah.
A Gemini sun, a Gemini rising.
Yeah.
Dude, what's your moon?
Leo.
Leo.
Yeah.
Why don't you mention that? Are you ashamed of your Leo moon?
No, not at all. I'm very grateful for it because I think it's the only reason I'm not insane.
Fascinating.
I think it's the reason why I have an ego, that a determined side of myself that will stop at nothing to express myself is probably that Leo moon.
Hell yeah.
And it's funny because one of my closest friends, Virginia, who's mentioned often in the book, she's such an important person in my life, but she is Leo rising Gemini moon. And we click like fire or whatever the term is, but we have met when we were 17 and just were a match in heaven. And it's just interesting when however I feel about astrology, that's the Leo moon I'm very grateful for.
I love that. Okay, so last night on Instagram, I saved a post about like what your moon means to you, and I just pulled up the Leo one.
Oh,
Can I
cool.
read it? Okay.
Yes, please.
This is courtesy of Spirit Daughter on Instagram.
Great.
Okay.
Great.
Hi, Leo Moon. You need to be seen, appreciated, and celebrated for who you truly are. This isn't ego, it's your emotional truth. You manifest when you shine unapologetically. The universe responds to your confidence and creative self-expression. Giving and receiving love freely is your path to fulfillment. When you lead with your heart, magic happens.
Wow. That's so lovely.
It's nice, right?
That is nice. I like that
Yeah.
it's not ego. It's just inside.
It's just authentic to your soul.
That's really lovely.
Yeah, I like that. Do you ever, when you're dating, do you ever like ask about guys?
Rarely. You know, it's funny because I used to write a horoscope column in the 90s. And I worked with a real astrologer, and I was the one who kind of wrote it up. And so I learned a lot, and I forgot a lot. But my friend Emily Gould, who just interviewed me, she gave me the name of this astrologer. And as soon as I can get the money together, I might get in touch with her, because I do think it's a way to look at your alignment in the universe for sure. What are you?
Not Virgo sun, Capricorn rising, Scorpio moon.
Nice. What does the Scorpio moon mean? Do you know? Let's find out.
Well, this is how I read it yesterday. I'm really grateful for my Scorpio moon because it's like Virgo is earth, Capricorn is earth, and they're both kind of very like grounded.
Yeah.
But then I like my moon is kind of this like passionate, fiery side.
Yeah.
Scorpio moon. This is for you, Brett, and any other Scorpio moons out there. I think Beyonce is one. Beyonce and I have similar charts. You feel everything at the deepest level. Your emotional intensity isn't too much. It's your portal to transformation. You manifest through releasing what no longer serves you. Every ending creates space for powerful new beginnings in your life. Your ability to transmute pain into power is unmatched. When you honor your depths, you become magnetic.
That's so great for that, and that really clicks with both you and Beyonce.
You're welcome, Beyonce. Yeah, I love that. Have you ever heard of human design?
Why does that sound familiar? What is that?
It's in the portal right now. It's a combination of astrology, the chakra system, a Chinese system, like an ancient Chinese system.
Qigong?
Yes, Qigong, I think. Sorry.
Yeah.
It's really fascinating. So like it breaks your energy. It breaks people down essentially into like a couple different energy types, but then it goes much deeper than that. So like you might have heard like the main energy types are manifestor, manifesting generator, projector, generator, and reflector. And it's basically just kind of like how your energy flows through your life, how you best interact with the world, and kind of like how you manifest authentically. But then you get like, it's so much more complicated. It's really cool. I only know a little bit about it, but like all of these things, it's kind of about how like you kind of come into life with your whole self completely already essentially perfect. But then along the way, you learn how to change and shift and dilute that through pain, shame, and programming. And it's just kind of about trying to get back to that simple soul's essence. It's really beautiful. It was really great to hear that I'm a manifester, because it's like, just really, there were certain things about myself that I would try to change or be ashamed of. And I was just like, oh, that's who I am. And I need to lean into that if I'm going to become who I'm meant to be and do what I'm meant to do. It's really cool. I'll send you a link if you want it. You find yours out the same way you do your natal chart. You just put in your birthday, the time you were born, and where you were born.
Lovely. Oh, I can't wait.
Easy peasy.
This is going to be like tonight's activity.
It's so fun. Cool. Okay. Final question. And this is an impossible question to answer. Favorite Fiona Apple song or album? Because you mentioned her a lot, and I love that you mentioned her a lot.
I love her so much. Before I answer that, I want to say I have a funny story about Fiona Apple that isn't mine, but it's someone else's. I think she might live in Venice.
Yes.
California. Yeah.
But she hides,
She hides. Yes.
Of course.
So a friend of mine was at like a 7-Eleven and ran in to get something and saw the back of this woman in like a long black coat with her hair cascading down that like only Fiona Apple's hair could be. And she was like in front of like the Twinkie aisle. She was just like this. I would have just been a puddle on the floor.
Did she get a Twinkie?
I think she did.
She was probably really stoned. I'm pretty sure she smokes a lot of pot.
I know. She's such an inspiration for us stoner creators.
I love her. Oh
I
my God.
I love her so much. I mean, and I'm not even like a deep, I mean, I love her albums. I listen to her music all the time, but I'm not like, there are other artists that I know way more about than her. Do you know what I mean? but my choice is always shifting. But right now it's like I root for you, love you, you.
You
I love that song,
so
Valentine.
good. Yeah, it's so fucking heartbreaking. The new album, it's 5 years old.
That
It's
one's
just
amazing.
phenomenal.
Yeah.
I'm
And it's
getting
funny
chills
because
just thinking about it.
when it came out during the pandemic, and I remember when it first came out, it was getting such crazy good reviews. And I listened to it and I was like, and then it really had to grow into me
Yeah.
or something. It was interesting. I feel that way about her music in general.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to like her. It just sort of happened. And she's such an inspiration to me about someone who lives alone and is committed to her art and is just a big weirdo.
Hmm.
And, take it or leave it. This is the way she is.
Exactly. Actually, I'm pretty sure she lives with her lover Zelda.
Is that her dog?
No, it's just her female friend named Zelda.
Well, lovely.
So I could be wrong. This is all conjecture, but the Fiona Apple sphere, like there's a woman on Twitter that goes by Zelda, and she answers for Fiona for the most part. So,
Good for her.
good for her, exactly, because
Yeah,
she's had some trouble with men.
she really has.
I don't know. I don't know what their relationship is. I don't fucking care. But yeah,
Right.
talk about someone who just disappears, checks out, does whatever the fuck they want to do, and it's the only way they can make art. From what I heard, the last album was done for a while, but she couldn't release it because the record label kept trying to nail down a tour, and she was just like, "I'm done with touring." And then when COVID hit, she was just like, "Now, I'll release it now."
It's so smart.
There's no way to pick a favorite song of hers. But when I thought of that question, I was like, well, I have to think of what mine is. And since the word regret was going around in these questions, I thought of her song Regret from the Idler Wheel, which there's so many songs you don't have to get in your head.
Yeah.
But the chorus of this song, first of all, it's just such a freaking intense song. The chorus of the song, the lyrics, but I ran out of white dove's feathers to soak up the hot piss that comes through your mouth every time you address me.
What the fuck?
Oh
She's
my
nuts.
God.
She's so cool. My God.
Does it get better than that?
No, no. Hot piss. God damn.
White dove's feathers to soak up the hot piss. It's like she's combating his acidity with like innocence and beauty.
Yep. She's so great.
She's amazing.
She
One
really
of the
is.
best. Cool. I have no more questions for you other than, and obviously you can say anything you want because if anyone's listened this far, they're really into it. But like, is there a preferred best place to listen to or download your
I've learned
book? Yeah.
there's a website portal called Libro FM, and I don't know if your listeners or you know about bookshop.com, which is sort of like an independent bookstore alternative to Amazon. And Bookshop, you can assign your online book order to a specific bookstore. So I assign all my book orders on Bookshop to the Q bookstore in the Gay and Lesbian Center. And I went to those guys. They're such nice guys. And I was like, hey, do you enjoy getting orders through Bookshop? And they're like, oh my God, we love it. It's major for us. So Libro FM is kind of like the Audible version of independent purchasing. And I've talked to a number of bookstore owners and all four of them, I was like, do you use Libro FM? Do you like it? And they were like, yes, we love it. It's important. It's a great way to get books. You get to support your local bookstore. And so, yeah, it's check it out, FM.
I pulled it up right now. That's awesome because, like I said, I canceled my Spotify Premium and I'm using Qobuz, Qobuz, which is amazing. It's like really high quality audio. It's independently owned, but they don't have podcasts, which is not a big deal. You just use
Right.
like Apple Pod or whatever. That shit's free anyway.
Right.
But like, and I don't do a lot of audiobooks, but there are definitely things that I will listen to that I wouldn't read.
Right.
And so like it would be good to have a place to go. Like I got an Audible trial, but Audible's owned by Amazon and I'm like, I'm trying to get out of all that shit, you know?
You're in a great space because I think some of us, me included, have such habits now with our Spotify and Audible, and it's hard to make the change, but it's a good time for you to kind of buck the system. You know what I mean?
Cool. So Libro FM for the audiobooks, and then it's like for your actual like physical books to order them, you have like a specific link on this other website. I'll grab those from you if that's okay.
Yes.
What's it called again?
Bookshop. And
Bookshop.
yes. And
Easy.
yes, you're right. I have physical books out there in the world. So if anyone wants to read my other stuff, you can do that. You can order those books there. I might be, if it all works out, I'll be in LA in March. We're going to do a comedy show at Casita del Campo
I
uh,
do.
in March. I think we're scheduled.
Oh, Unitard?
Yep. It'll be
Oh, hell
all worked out.
yeah.
Yes.
I love that. Oh, well, I would love to see you guys. I'd love to see you. And yeah, I don't know how to wrap this up other than to say, like, congratulations.
Thank you.
You know, like,
It really means a lot. Thank you so much.
I really, really hope that this gets out there and the world gets to enjoy it because it's such a great experience. And it really is, it's unlike any other audiobook I've ever dug into. It's fucking
Thank
awesome.
you.
Congratulations. You're
Thank you
amazing.
so much.
Yeah. So
All right.
I'll put the links in wherever I post this and y'all need to dig into it. Thanks, Mike.
Thank you.